The salvage yard on Station Prometheus smelled of ionized metal and recycled air. Layla wiped the grease from her hands, her dark eyes scanning the latest haul from the debris field. Twisted hull fragments, burnt-out plasma coils, and the skeletal remains of what had once been a Zalthari exploration vessel lay scattered across her workspace. She was the best mechanic on the station. Everyone said so. While others saw junk, Layla saw possibility. Every broken piece held a story, a purpose waiting to be rediscovered. It was Leonardo who first noticed something unusual in the cargo manifest. Her business partner leaned against the doorframe, his tablet casting a blue glow across his angular features. "Layla, you need to see this," he said, his voice tight with curiosity. The scanner picked up an energy signature in the Zalthari wreckage. It's biological, but stable, like it's in stasis. She followed him to the far corner of the yard where a crystalline container sat partially embedded in melted hull plating. It was roughly the size of a human torso, its surface covered in intricate geometric patterns that seemed to shift in the light. Inside, suspended in a shimmering gel, was an egg. But this was no ordinary egg. Its shell reflected colors that didn't exist in normal spectrum, hues that made Layla's eyes water when she looked directly at it. Veins of what appeared to be liquid starlight pulsed beneath its surface. "Is that what I think it is?" Leonardo whispered. Layla's breath caught. The galaxy's most dangerous secret, a myth whispered in the dark corners of space stations, was sitting in her salvage yard. A dragon egg. Not the terrestrial creatures of Earth's ancient legends, but the cosmic entities the Zalthari had hunted to near extinction 3 millennia ago. "We should report this," Leonardo said, though his hand hovered protectively near the container. "To who?" Layla shot back. "The Galactic Council? They'll either destroy it or weaponize it. The Zalthari? They'll finish what they started." She moved closer, her engineer's mind already working. "Look at the containment field. It's failing. The stasis won't hold for more than a few days." That night, Layla couldn't sleep. She returned to her workshop, drawn by something she couldn't explain. The egg's patterns had changed, becoming more active, more urgent. Through the crystalline shell, she could see movement. "I know you're in there," she whispered, pressing her palm against the warm surface. "I know you're scared." The response was immediate. A pulse of pure emotion flooded her mind. Loneliness, ancient beyond measure, and a desperate hunger for connection. Tears streamed down Layla's face as she felt the weight of millennia of isolation. She made her decision. Working through the night, Layla carefully extracted the egg from its failing stasis field. She built a new containment system, one designed not to imprison but to nurture. Leonardo found her at dawn, surrounded by scattered components and half-empty coffee cups. "You're going to hatch it," he said. "It wasn't a question." "I'm going to let it choose," Layla corrected. "The Zalthari kept them in forced stasis, treated them like weapons. I'm offering it something different. And if it kills us?" Layla smiled grimly. "Then at least one of them will have died free." 3 days later, the egg began to crack. Leonardo sealed the workshop, but Layla refused to leave. Fragments of crystalline shell fell away, revealing something that defied comprehension. The hatchling was barely larger than a cat, its form constantly shifting between states of matter: solid, liquid, energy, and something else entirely. Its hide rippled with galaxies, nebulae swirling across scales that seemed to contain infinite depth. 2 eyes, ancient and aware, fixed on Layla. In that gaze, she saw the birth of stars and the death of worlds. She saw the loneliness of being the last, the weight of genetic memory spanning eons. Then, impossibly, the dragon smiled. A bond formed in that instant, deeper than words, stronger than gravity. The hatchling, she decided to call him Cosmos, pressed his small head against her palm, and Layla understood. Dragons weren't weapons. They were partners, companions who had once flown alongside humanity's distant ancestors before the first civilizations rose. The Zalthari had discovered them and, fearing their power, had tried to control them. But dragons couldn't be controlled. They could only be loved. Cosmos grew rapidly. Within weeks, he was the size of a shuttle, his body adapting to whatever form was needed. He could fold himself into quantum spaces, making himself small enough to ride on Layla's shoulder, or expand to starship size, his wings spreading across kilometers of space. Leonardo watched in amazement as Layla and Cosmos worked together, the dragon's innate understanding of physics and energy combining with her mechanical genius. They revolutionized fusion technology in an afternoon. They created propulsion systems that bent space itself. Station Prometheus became the center of a new renaissance, with Layla and her dragon leading humanity into discoveries that had been forgotten by the galaxy. But more than the technology, more than the fame that followed, Layla treasured the quiet moments. When Cosmos would shrink down and curl around her shoulders, his warmth like captured sunlight. When they would float in the observation deck, watching nebulae birth new stars, communicating in the wordless language they had developed. The Zalthari eventually came, as Layla knew they would. Their warships surrounded Station Prometheus, demanding the dragon's surrender. Layla stood on the communications deck, Leonardo beside her, and Cosmos magnificent in his full form, filling the space behind them like a living aurora. "This dragon is not your weapon," Layla declared, her voice broadcast across the system. "He is not your prisoner. He is my friend, my partner, and under human protection." The lead Zalthari commander's face twisted. "You don't understand what you're harboring, human. Dragons are people," Layla interrupted. "Sentient, feeling beings who you terrorized for thousands of years. That ends now." Cosmos spread his wings and space itself rippled. The Zalthari fleet found their weapon system simply gone. Not destroyed, not disabled, erased from reality as if they had never existed. It was a gentle warning, a demonstration of power tempered by mercy. The fleet retreated. In the years that followed, other eggs were found. Other humans carefully chosen became dragon-bonded. A new era dawned where humanity, long considered the galaxy's newcomers, became the defenders of its most ancient children. Layla stood in her workshop, now more laboratory than salvage yard, and watched Cosmos play with a particularly interesting piece of dark matter. Leonardo brought her coffee, grinning at the chaos. "Still think we should have reported it?" she asked. He laughed. "Not even for a second." Finding that egg hadn't just changed Layla's life. It had changed everything. And as Cosmos turned to her with eyes full of starlight and joy, she knew that some salvage wasn't about fixing what was broken. Sometimes, it was about saving what was lost and letting it save you in return. The end.